Hey guys, it's TFR back here with another video, and today we're going to be reviewing the April 28th episode of AEW Dynamite. There were some big matches, so let's get right into it. Then we had Hangman versus Brian Cage, so Dark Order and Team Taz were brawling beforehand. Brian Cage powerbombed Hangman. He then hit an Enzuigiri at one point, and a moonsault, but that got reversed, but it was a standing moonsault. Later on, he went for a suplex, but Hangman avoided Cage. He went over the top rope. And then, so Cage went over the top rope, right? But he managed to catch Hangman's suicide dive. But Cage was thrown into a ring post, and then Cage hit the F10 for a 2 inside the ring before hitting a power bomb and a buckle bomb before hitting, I'm pretty sure it's the drill claw for a 3. So it was pretty surprising. I don't think anyone actually expected Brian Cage to beat Hangman Adam Page, the guy who they're basically setting up to beat Kenny Omega probably a year from now. So that was really surprising. I'm wondering if it's going to lead to Brian Cage versus Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing. Yeah, it's Double or Nothing. So yeah, but that's going to be interesting. So I'd rate it a 4 out of 5. So next up, we saw the Elite in the limo. They were joking around, and then they got scared when the driver hit the horn, thinking it was the Mox and Kingston, right? If you didn't know, Kenny Omega is the new Impact World Champion, adding to its belt collector thing, and he won it on Sunday at Impact Rebellion, beating Rich Swann. So then we had the Jacksons versus the Sydal Bros, or the Young Bucks versus the Sydal Bros, right? So they were being very arrogant. There was a double clothesline. Then I'm pretty sure it was Matt Sydal started getting some kicks to land on them. Sydal got a crucifix. Mike Sydal hit him nice moonsault, but he couldn't get a Hurricanrana. Then the Bucks hit a low blow and a BTE trigger for the win. Then SCU came out and called them out for not being good champions and said that they would beat them. And if you didn't know, next time SCU loses, they have to split up. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So next up we had Penta Zero versus Orange Cassidy in a big match. So Penta shoved Cassidy when he was doing the Cero Miedo sign. Cassidy got a cool arm drag, but then Cassidy got a crucifix for 2. Cassidy did like a Shawn Michaels sort of flip over the ropes and a crossbody, and locked in a guillotine that Penta reversed into a suplex. Cassidy reversed a package pile driver. Penta's finished her into a beach break. Then Cassidy hit a Slumdog Millionaire and a diving DDT, and as well as a spinning DDT for 2. Then Alex tried to distract Orange Cassidy, but he grabbed Alex Abrahantes, Penta's translator, by the shirt and suplexed him before Penta hit his package pile driver. But he couldn't hit it because Cassidy escaped, got the mic that Alex Abrahantes was going to use from Trent, and hit Penta with it for the win. This was a really good match. I liked it. It was sort of surprising to see Cassidy win. Another part of me wants to say that they're going to do Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy because that'll just be entertaining. And yeah, I'm hoping that we get to see an Orange Cassidy versus Pac rematch to end this whole thing. But yeah, another 4 out of 5. Next up, we had the Inner Circle versus Pinnacle Parlay a week before we saw the Blood and Guts match between the two teams. So Sammy Guevara said Shawn Spears sucked in WWE. That was basically what he said. Santana told Dax Harwood to say goodbye to his kids because he'll never be the same after this match, or something along those lines. MJF said that Jericho helped AEW and he was a bridge for fans, and he respects him for that. but he says Jericho is under pressure and he will become the best in AEW. Jericho then, who had the final word, said he was not going to get what he wanted. MJF didn't know who he was talking to, basically, and that even though he wasn't as far as MJF at the age of 25, it made him who he was, and ultimately it made him a legend in the industry, and that MJF has no idea what's coming to him at Blood and Guts. So that was basically the gist of what all the big lines were, and basically what the main people in the feud said, right? So it's going to be really cool. Personally, I can't wait to see this match next week. I am so excited. Like, I don't think people can tell how excited I am. I've watched War Games matches before, and I have really high expectations for this. But I'm sure it's going to be good regardless. So yeah, I think it was like a 4 out of 5. Jericho has been on fire with his promos, man, ever since he turned face. Like, April 7th till now, he's had, like, I think some of the best promos of his career. In my eyes. Obviously, I haven't watched a majority of his career, but I feel like this was amazing. So yeah, 4 out of 5. Like I said, almost everything tonight has been very solid. 4 out of 5. So yeah. So basically, so earlier in the night, Omega said that if Kingston wanted a match, he would have to face Michael Nakazawa first. So it's one of Omega's friends that's basically just a jobber. So then he and Kingston were talking, right? Omega was on the entrance ramp and Kingston was in the ring. Nakazawa attacked him from behind, but Kingston got the upper hand before he threatened to break Michael's ankle unless Omega came to the ring, and Omega just said, I don't care, we have more of these guys if you want. And Cutler got dragged out. It was funny. But then Mox came to the rescue, I guess you could say, and brought Omega to the ring before Callis came onto the entrance ramp, and they put Omega's leg in the chair next, and they said that if they didn't get a tag match with Omega next week, then they would break his ankle, which would probably make him have to vacate all the titles, right? So then Callis was like, who do you want? Who do you want? Like, he was panicking, right? And Mox was like, I want that Nakazawa guy, right? And so next week we're gonna see what's it called? Next week we're gonna see Omega and Nakazawa versus Mox and Kingston. So I wouldn't be surprised if Omega just no-showed him. It was a handicap match. So it's gonna be pretty entertaining. I like the segment. It was good. It's set up some storylines. It's gonna be like, I am very interested to see who Omega's opponent for Double or Nothing is gonna be, because they quite honestly have 3 easy options to justify, and they have a 4th that would be interesting as well. So their 3 easy options are Brian Cage, because he beat the number 1 person in the rankings, Orange Cassidy, because he's like number 2 in the rankings, and then Kingston, because that's the whole grudge. I hope they don't do Omega versus Ambrose for the 4th time in AEW history, not because they have bad matches, because they have amazing matches, but come on, like, I don't think that would be entertaining to watch. Like, I don't think they can really outdo the exploding barbed wire match from last time around. So yeah, but it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens. I think this again was a 3.5 out of 5 instead, because I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. But yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention the 4th guy is Christian Cage, because what's it called? On his first appearance in AEW, he stared down Omega, and plus they would have an amazing match together, and on top of that, he's undefeated, but he's only had like 2 matches, so it's not really saying anything, and he's in a feud with FTW right now, I think, or not FTW, Team Taz, but I'm not really sure what's going on with him. It's very confusing, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Next up, we had Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford. So Statlander hit a gorilla press. Statlander then faked a suicide dive to scare Ford. Ford whipped her into the barricade. Statlander hit a knee strike. Ford hit a really good kick for 2. And Statlander won with the Big Bang Theory, which is her finisher. It was a pretty good match. I liked it. It was a nice return match. And plus, they did sort of they had a pretty good match, to be honest. So I'd say the match was 3.5 out of 5, right? And then after that, we had Kip Sabian saying he was going to go to talk to Miro, because Miro wanted to talk for the last 3 weeks. So he went to talk to Miro and he got beat up. And then Miro said, That was a good talk. I forgive you. It's pretty entertaining. So that altogether, I'd say it was a 3.5 or 4 out of 5, both segments. So yeah. Next up, we had the Nightmare Family, consisting of Lee Johnson, Dustin Rhodes, and Billy Gunn against The Factory, consisting of QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, and what's his name, Nick Camarado. So Lee Johnson was laying into QT. Camarado just destroyed Dustin at one point. QT ended up suplexing Dustin on the floor. Dustin had a scoop slam later on, and I think that's what it was. Then Lee Johnson kept up. He was on fire, straight up insanely on fire, until Ogogo hit the gut punch when the ref wasn't looking, and QT managed to get the win. Then Cody came back, and he attacked QT until they were on top of a trailer, and then Cody locked him in the figure four. So it was pretty interesting. It was okay. Wasn't the biggest fan of it, but it was pretty good. So like 3 out of 5. Yeah, it's about 3 out of 5. So then in the main event, we had Darby Allin versus Preston Vance, 10 of the Dark Order, in a main event for the TNT title. Darby's been defending the title a lot recently, but 10 was basically playing the big guy. He had a stalling suplex. He chopped Darby. He even had a knee strike and a spine buster. And the cherry on top was when he reversed a triangle choke by Darby into a power bomb. Like what in the world? Then Darby put in a armbar, right? And hit a senton to the Dark Order members on the outside. After that, Ethan Page threw Darby into the ring post, and 10 managed to put in the sleeper, or a full Nelson type of move. But that got reversed into a roll-up, a la Bret Hart and Austin, Survivor Series 96. And I'm pretty sure there was one at WrestleMania before that, between Bret Hart and Roddy Piper, right? Then, after the match was over, Scorpion Sky and Ethan Page entered the ring and put Darby and Sting in submission moves until Lance and 10 came to the rescue and chased them off to end the show, right? So it was pretty good. I liked it. It was a really good match, so like a 4.5 out of 5. And that was all for the show. If I didn't mention, my grade for the Nightmare Factory family match was a 3 out of 5. It was okay, right? So for next week, the card for Blood and Guts, the special episode, is Cody versus QT Marshall, Omega and Nakazawa versus Kingston and Mox, Britt Baker will be in action, and SCU versus Jurassic Express versus Varsity Blondes versus The Acclaimed. In a number 1 contenders match, the winner will face the Young Bucks in the following week. And the main event, the Blood and Guts match between the Inner Circle and Pinnacle, it's sure to be great. Then the week after that, we will see the Mox versus Yuji Nagata for the IWGP US title, and the winners of the 4-way against the Young Bucks. So it's going to be really interesting. About the Mox and Yuji Nagata match, I'm not sure how you say that. But yeah. So that match was not built on Dynamite at all, so it's very cool to see. This is another sign of the Forbidden Door being blown wide open. I'm very excited to see what happens here. If you guys like this content, make sure you like, subscribe, share, do everything you can. I appreciate all your support. Peace.